Alright guys, well, my old Dodge is blown up. It's blown up. It's already being used as a parts rack. Okay. So that normally has a 4.7 in it, is what it's got in it right now. It's blown up, rod knocking bad. So I went and picked up this 5.3 LS out the junkyard, okay? Now, know what you're thinking, Chevy motor, Dodge truck, not really gonna work. But we're gonna make it work. So I haven't really filmed that much. We went and picked this up yesterday. It looks pretty good, you know. The inside of the motor looks pretty clean, just peeking in from this cap right here. Looks pretty decent just from that, but we're gonna find out a little more later on. Doesn't really matter though, because we're gonna go ahead and pull this whole thing apart. This is gonna be like a several part series, obviously. The goal is to actually turbo it to put in the truck, make around 650 horsepower, something like that is what I'm hoping for, to the tires. And we're gonna do that on the stock bottom end, but we're gonna pull it apart. We're gonna gap the rings. We're gonna probably put a turbo cam in it, do some spring work on the heads and everything. We're gonna soup it up a little bit, but first things first, we got to get off this seat belt. I got a engine stand from Harbor Freight, and I got a little new pressure washer because my old one broke. We're gonna pressure wash this thing up, get it as cleaned up as possible before we start pulling it apart. And as we pull it apart, we'll clean it some more and everything like that. But y'all are gonna get to see this. If you're interested, subscribe. You know, it's gonna be several part series. Obviously, it may take a few months, but we're gonna get it done. We ain't about to slack on it. All right, guys, as always, Harbor Freight is coming in clutch with you know, just having cheap, good things to use. Okay, you know, I mean, this engine stand, it's 1,000-pound capacity, Pittsburgh. You know, they're usually pretty good quality, and you know, it was $100. And then with the membership, it was like $80. I mean, you can't really beat that in today's world. You know, I mean, things aren't cheap, but this is a pretty decent price. So what's going to happen with this, we're going to go ahead and pull this out, get it put together, and then it will bolt to the bell housing bolts here. I went and picked up some hardware from Rouse's, and then we'll be able to have it on an actual stand, and just instead of just hanging off this seat belt here, then we'll be able to get it cleaned up and get it in the shop. All right, guys, so real quick tip with these Harbor Freight stands is it comes with these right here. These are going to bolt into these bell housing bolts, and then this end over here at this end will bolt to the actual stand. So I did some research when I was picking up bolts for this, because I wanted to make sure I got the right length just the first time. And this is what I ended up picking up. Now, I paid way too much for this because it's a 10.9 grade stainless, was the only one they had in this size. And it's by, yeah, I think it was 75 millimeters long. And that's what people said would work, but if you slide that baby in there, that ain't gonna work. That's not enough engagement into the hole to do anything really. So I had to make another run back to the store, and the only thing I could find was an 8.8 grade, but which is gonna have to do, but this is by 90. So it's a M10 1.5 pitch by 90 millimeters, and it seems like it's gonna work just fine. It's gonna have plenty of engagement, and we're gonna put a washer on this end right here and a washer on this end, just to stop from knurling up this, and also to protect this bell housing right here. So we're gonna go ahead and start slapping this engine stand together. All right, guys, and just like that, we got the Pittsburgh engine stand put together. You know, I didn't really film putting it together because it's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty simple, just a few bolts, and they usually got good instructions with it. But the only thing I'll say is, like, if you're gonna put this together yourself, the only thing you may not have that like the normal person has in their shop is a pair of snap ring pliers for the snap ring right here, and that just holds this from coming out. You could probably do it without it. I'm gonna go ahead and keep it in there. I was going to bolt this to the engine first and then slip it in, but now I think I'm just gonna pick the stand up, bolt it to the motor, and lower it down. But we're gonna get to bolting this to the motor now. All right, guys, so it's all bolted together. I didn't really show it just because it was kind of a pain in the butt, not gonna lie. Should have left the snap ring off this with this out of the actual frame and just bolted that to it and then slip that on. Would have made it way easier, but you know, I didn't do that, so I'm stuck with what I have now. But we got it on there. It's all bolted up, it's tight. You want to make sure all this is nice and tight. Don't want to strip this though, because this is some, you know, I mean, it's cast, it can strip easy. But we're gonna go ahead, lower it down, and pray it holds it, you know. So I'm gonna walk right over here, hook this baby up. I'm just gonna lower it down slowly now. All right, and it is off the stand. Now, the only thing I'm not liking is the motor is kind of high up, but I mean, not really. I'm 5'7", so I'm kind of short, so it might just be that. I think I could have flipped these. You see how these are like angled like that? If I wanted the motor lower, I could flip them, angle them down, bring it down probably a solid 4 or 5 inches, I would say. But it looks pretty good right there. So now it's off that seat belt. We can go ahead, tape up all the holes that are here, and I'm about to hose this baby down. You know, I'm gonna say that sucker was pretty clean. That's some pretty good oil coming out of that thing. All right, guys, now I got the motor kind of on its side a little bit. This pin is stopping it from rotating all the way down. Wow, it's heavy as crap. So I should have put this going down like what I was talking about just a minute ago, because all the weight's on the top, and when it rotated around, it wants to stay down. I'm gonna need 2 people to help me get it back up. So I should have done the top first, but I just wanted to see where the bottom was at, you know what I mean? So basically what I went ahead and did, I taped up the exhaust, I taped up the in-tank with a rag behind it. Just put a little rag in there. We're gonna pop that starter off too in just a minute. But what the goal is to just mitigate the amount of water that gets places. Water is gonna get in there. If we're pressure washing it, it's okay, because this motor's getting torn down completely. It's getting the pistons out of it and everything. But when we finish, we're gonna spray some WD-40 in spark plug holes, or maybe like some Kroll, something like that, just to make sure before we pull it apart, nothing rust in there, nothing like that. But for now, we're just trying to mitigate the amount of water that can get into places. It's still gonna happen. It just is what it is. It's getting pulled apart, so it doesn't really matter too much. Now, as you can see, this thing's pretty dirty, you know, it's pretty filthy. But I'll insert a little clip of the oil that came out of here when I flipped it over. Pretty good oil coming out of that thing. Looks pretty clean. But what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and open up my new pressure washer. My old one broke, so I had to pick up a new one. Went ahead and got one from Harbor Freight, as you know. Okay, this is a 2000 PSI, 1.3 gallon per minute. I had a Ryobi 2000 PSI, a 1.2 gallon per minute. Loved it. It worked great for all my power sports use and everything like that. Not too high, not too low of pressure, nothing. So we're gonna see how that one does. It was pretty much the same price as the Ryobi. I just didn't want to buy the Ryobi again. You know, I kind of wanted to expand, see if something was better or not. But if it sucks, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm gonna get the Ryobi again, because I love that pressure washer. It did break. It was ran over, we'll just say that. But what I'm gonna do, get that thing unboxed, see how it works. Go ahead and I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it with some water, and then I'm gonna come back and spray degreaser on it and everything. I just want to go ahead and try to knock off the big stuff, you know. We're not trying to clean it up too good. I don't know if I'm gonna paint it or not, anything like that. We'll see, because, you know, I mean, this thing may blow up at one point in the future with it being turbocharged and everything. And I'm not really gonna be doing the bottom end too much, you know, just doing preventative stuff as far as boosting it. But we're gonna get to pressure washing, you know, we're gonna get to work, stop talking about it. So I'm gonna prop y'all up probably while I'm pressure washing it, just so y'all can see. This is gonna turn into a muddy mess, because it is dusty, but it's kind of the best spot I have to do it. And then once it's all cleaned up and everything, we'll get it put in the shop and start tearing this thing down. All right, guys, the brawler, I don't know how you say it, is put together. You know, it's bigger than my Ryobi. It's not as compact as the Ryobi was. I like the holders for the nozzles. It's like a rubbery kind of holder. It feels good. It's a little louder than my Ryobi. It does seem to be about the same power, you know. I mean, it's got a nice, but you hear that noise when it turns off. That reminds me of, I had like an Amazon pressure washer at one point, and that reminds me of that sound. So I'm wondering if it's pretty similar to just like one of them Chinese knockoffs, which, you know, I mean, it's a Brouwer, but I did pay like $200 for it, which is pretty much the same what I paid for my Ryobi, and the Ryobi was much quieter. How it performs, how long it lasts, we'll see. You know, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I just needed something to pressure wash this sucker. You can see it gets that grime off. So we're about to go ahead and hose this pupper down, and then we'll start putting some degreaser on it. Alright guys, so with just a little bit of spraying, this is what we got. Obviously still really caked on there. You know, it's really going to need some degreaser to help get that off and some wire brushing. But you got to also keep in mind, I got a lot of crap on it right now, okay? Exhaust manifolds, in tank, coil packs, everything's on it right now, to where you can't really get to it. All the accessories up in the front. So it is going to get a second cleaning, but I'm going to be honest with y'all, I really didn't want to touch it with the way it was right now. You know, it's just really nasty. I already had to pull it out, and that was just horrific. So I want to go ahead and really now I kind of decided I'm gonna focus on just getting the bottom side. We'll worry about getting the top whenever we get all that stuff off. So I'm going to get some degreaser all over the oil pan and like kind of the bottom of the block a little bit, and just really clean it up. I'm probably gonna hit it with some degreaser, spray it, and then if it looks good, we'll leave it. If it doesn't look good, I'll hit it with some wire brushes and some degreaser. So we're gonna get back to that. All right guys, you know, it's looking much better in my mind, okay? You know, I mean, it's a motor, it's a 2002, so it's had years of old grime on it. You know, you can't get that off in just 10 minutes. But I went ahead and went against myself and did a little wire brush to it. This is like really solid. All right, now that's like where everything was hitting it, so I'm assuming something got packed on there hard. But like down in here is looking much better. The pan's looking much better. The size of the block looks really nice. You know, I'm okay with working on it like it is now. Really, to get it all good, I need to pressure wash that. I missed that. To get it all good, it's gonna have to be pulled apart, obviously. Stuff needs to come off of it. All the front accessories need to come off of it. So it's not gonna be perfect right now, but I just need something a little better than what it was. You know, I want to get in the shop. I want it to be nice and clean-ish. I didn't want the way it was, but it's looking much better now. I want to flip it over and do the top, but at the same time I want to flip it over and pull everything off the top. So I want to get the top just semi-clean and then start pulling stuff off of it. Problem is I don't know if I'm gonna be able to flip it over myself. It's pretty heavy. I'm probably gonna look for a pipe to get on the end of that, have me a big old breaker bar kind of style on it. But I'm gonna hit that real quick, and then I'm gonna try to get it flipped over for y'all. All right, we got the big old Limbro on there. Let's see if we can get it, baby, to flip around. It's gonna take a little more than that. I think we bent my rod a little bit. Ooh-wee. Bent that like bad. Bent it bad. Note to self, flip the thing next time. I don't know how I'm gonna get it up. got an idea. Y'all ever heard of there's a right way and there's a wrong way? I'd venture to say this is probably the wrong way. That's just me though. I'd also venture to say this is about the only option I got. You can't hide genius. It's just the truth of it. Now once it starts to rotate, you pull the pin out. Ba-boom-ba. See if we can get this baby flipped around. I think we're gonna run out of travel in a minute. So hopefully we'll get there. Golly, this thing goes up high. Oh, there goes the dipstick. That's alright. Get over now. There we go. And the pin's in. Let's go, man. Alright, now we got it back upright. You can see this was the side I could pressure wash a little bit. The other side I couldn't really get to. I want to get all up in here. You know, I'm going to spray a little bit of degreaser on it, nothing too much. Get some of this all up in here, that pedestal. And then we're going to start, you know, just simplifying it a little bit. Start tearing some of this crap off. All this stuff is kind of in our way. It's stuff where we're not really going to use again. All these wires are going to be replaced with a Holley Terminator. Full wiring harness and ECU. So, all that can really go. It can get out of our way. We don't need the pedestal on it anymore or anything like that. We got to pull it all apart anyhow. So I'm gonna give it a quick spray down, give it some degreaser on it, and get to pulling the stuff off. All right, guys. Now that I've finished turning this place into a mud pit, you know, I mean, it's still dirty, like I said, you know, but that's okay. It's way cleaner than it was. You know, the cylinders, especially the cylinder heads, and then the block really wasn't that bad. For the rest of this, I'm gonna have to get up under the end tank and everything. But like I said, everything's coming off. So it's pretty clean right now. I'm comfortable with getting it in the shop how it is right now and starting to rip off the coil packs, whip all the wiring off and the end tank and get all the front assembly off. But I'm gonna go get the shop picked up to where it's got its own spot to where everything it needs can go in one spot. And might put it in there. We might start ripping it off right here. I really don't want to work in a mud pit though. But I mean, pretty successful little cleanup job on it, I would say, for what I'm gonna do. You know, I'm pretty happy with it. It supposedly ran when it came out. When it was put right into the junkyard, they drove it in there. So the vehicle just went to the junkyard because it had no title or whatever. So it should be pretty good little 5.3. I don't know the mileage on it. It looks pretty clean though. Let's see, up in here. Looks really clean in there for what it is. It is an 02, so it's older. It's got the 862 heads, not the best selection, but you know, it was one of them things where there wasn't anything else on the lot, and it was pretty much a golden pick because they had just brought it into the junkyard when I showed up, so I couldn't turn around on it. And it's gonna be a little budget, little turbo build, you know. I mean, we aren't gonna go all out. Bottom end's gonna stay the same. We aren't gonna cheap out either though. I'm probably gonna put a cam in it, turbo cam, and then, you know, it's gonna get the valve springs done on it. It's gonna get the piston rings gapped and everything. So it's gonna be a nice build. I hope y'all stick around to see it. And when it's done, it's gonna go in the truck, the Dodge. And you know, I mean, there aren't too many LS swap Dodges, but it's gonna be one cool little third gen, I'm thinking. All right, guys, we got it up in the shop. Got a little bit of room cleared out and stuff. We got a four-wheel in here we're working on for me and my cousin's we got a little side business going on, WB Performance. So we're gonna go ahead and label this build under us as well. But you know, we're gonna be messing with the four wheel and stuff like that along with this motor and everything. But motor's in the shop, we're about to start tearing it apart. All right guys, we got the exhaust manifold off on the side and some spark plugs out. All right, the plugs are looking pretty good. Okay, they're all looking pretty clean, looking pretty fresh. Just peeking down in there, we got some carbon buildup in there. My dad's over here helping me get this side apart. We're gonna try to rip a head off tonight and see what we're looking at. All right guys, we're gonna get back to it. I'm about to rip these coil packs off right here. All right guys, so we got the coil packs off. We're getting ready to take the fuel rails off. Got a little bit more stuff to take off over here. Unplug the injectors, pop out the bolts, and then both the fuel rails should come off together with the injectors. Then we're gonna pull some valve covers off and start getting to work on the heads. And just like that, the intake should come off. Now we can reveal all the nastiness. Got some leaves down in there. All this is gonna get pulled off and cleaned up.
So you got a little vacuum or something?
Look at that. It looks pretty clean in there. How did these leaves get all the way down in here?
Because they go.
Ugh. They look super clean in there. All right, we're getting closer to pulling the heads off. Yeah, that's gotta come out.
Put a rag in there and suck some of that water up. And then Scott multi-purpose blue towelettes. Why did you squeeze it out and then throw it down like you was going to reuse it?
That's enough. Those are rusted.
Oh, yep. Water just.
Yeah, those had done both. It's pretty decent, doesn't it? I mean, it's getting a new cam anyway. Look how clean this thing is. We dropped a little trash in it when we pulled the valley cover off. That's okay. It's all gonna get pulled apart. Cam looks pretty good. Lifters look pretty good. It's all getting new cam and lifters though, so it doesn't really matter. But we're gonna keep pulling it off. We're gonna go ahead and get these rockers off. All right guys, so the rockers are out now. We got the push rods out. Those are probably getting replaced whenever we go to put all that together. Rockers out on this side. This side's a little darker, little dirtier than the other side, but none of it's cruddy, none of it's junky. So we're gonna go ahead and pull this pedestal off here, get some of these accessories off. That way this head's good to remove. And then I guess we're gonna get to pulling the heads on these things and see what the pistons look like, see what cylinders look like. It did run, so it should look pretty good, but we're gonna find out. All right guys, I know we're kind of just going after it and not really showing anything, but we got the pedestal off, we got the alternator off, the AC compressor off. About to pull this AC compressor bracket off, and then the water pump can come with it. And then we can get after the heads, probably pull the engine mounts off too. Just trying to break the block down all the way so we can go ahead and get to work on it. But we're gonna get back to it. We're gonna go ahead and pop all this stuff off. Maybe have to pop the fan off, but we're gonna get back to it. All right, we're down to the sharp block of it. We got the water pump off of it, got the steam part off of it. I think now we can start pulling these heads off and seeing what we really got. So far it's looking pretty good. Pretty promising, but I mean, we might pop it and just find a cracked cylinder. So we're gonna pull the heads off and find out. All right guys, we got the head bolts out. About to rip this first head off and see what we're looking at. Oh yeah. Yep, thing looks good. What's it looking like, Dad? That's definitely a 5.3. That doesn't look that bad. No cracks on this one. Looks good.
You're gonna have to mic it and see what it is.
You know what you call that? Boost ready.
Boost ready.
All right, guys, we got both the heads off here. Got the lifters out on this side, and I gotta say, this thing is looking amazing. I think we got really lucky with this fine. There is a ton of cross hatching on the cylinder wall still. It's hard to see on camera, but I'll pop up a little photo that took it a little better. But I'm gonna say this thing has some pretty decent, like as far as miles, I think it's pretty low miles, which is good. And we're gonna keep on trucking. We're gonna get these lifters out the rest of the way. They're all coming out looking good. I'm gonna let y'all know if one of them looks bad. And then we're gonna flip it over, pull the oil pan off, and see what some of these bearings look like maybe. All right, we're about to pop this oil pan off right here. Get this sucker off. Ugh.
Destroyed.
All right. Definitely got a little more crud down here, but nothing crazy. I've seen some pretty rough stuff. Timing chain looks pretty good. Timing chain is really loose. Do a little sneak peek in here. Can't see too much. We're gonna pop this windage tray off. Got a little trash on the pickup. No trash in the filter. No metal. No metal. So we're doing good with that. All right, let's pop this windage tray off. All right, guys. This is the moment of truth. We got a rod cap loosened up. Let's see what these bearings look like. Those have some wear. They look pretty good, but they definitely got some trash that got ran through them. So the bearings are gonna get replaced.
I don't think you'll need to polish the journals from here.
No, the crank looks fine. At least in this case, the crank looks really good. But the bearings took some wear to them. So new bearings.
Like pop it past it. Okay. Come here, you little fella.
What's the side of it look like?
I mean,
pretty good, pretty standard for.
Oh, it's still got the. You still feel the machine inside of it. That's perfect. You're gonna clean that bad boy up and put that back in there.
I think the wrist pin is pressed into the
Yeah,
rod.
I thought they would have keepers on these, but
No, this is pressed into the rod.
it's a little tight.
But other than that, y'all, I mean, everything moves good. Everything looks good. I think it won't be too long. We're gonna have this baby put back together. We're gonna get the cam out on another video.
Oh, that's where you hit it with the.
Yeah, that's probably where I tapped it. We're gonna get the cam out on another video. It's gonna be getting a Texas speed cam in it, set up for a turbo. And all right, guys, this is the end of part 1.